of the CORR Lucas Oil Pro Series in Crandon will be remembered for some of CORR's winningest drivers flexing their muscles. In Pro 4, Johnny Greaves won the race into Turn 1 and never looked back, en route to his first win of the year and 33rd of his career. In Pro 2, CORR's all-time winningest driver, Scott Taylor, recorded career win number 36. It was also his 10th Pro 2 victory at Crandon. And in Pro Light, Jeff Kincaid and Rick Huseman duked it out early. But Kincaid dropped out with engine trouble, and Huseman went on to take career win number 17. It was also his first win at Crandon since round 7 of 2002, which perhaps finally puts an end to his Crandon hex. What will the historic raceway in Crandon offer up in round 5? We're about to find out next, right here on Speed. Hi everybody and welcome to Crandon, Wisconsin and Crandon International Raceway for the 5th round of the CORR Lucas Oil Pro Series, the Potawatomi Brush Run. I'm Greg Kramer, joined as always by former national champ Larry Rice and Ken Stout covering the action down in the pits for us. And we're going to get going with the big guns right out of the box, Larry.
Yeah, Pro 4, they're the most exciting, fastest trucks that we witness here, and these things really dig hard out of the hole.
Now, of course, so we're going to be looking at a few guys. One of them is coming up, number 66. There he is, Jason Baldwin. He comes in as the points leader, not by a lot, mind you. He's got a bit of a margin of some 6 points, but that's it. So he's definitely going to have his work cut out for him. And, of course, a good look, as always, on board with Carl Renesetter, that Lucas Oil Pro Chevy. He always gives us some absolutely great looks. You talked about these guys being exciting, being the Thunder. Tell us about them.
Well, these Pro 4 trucks are full-size four-wheel drive pickup trucks, 850 horsepower, 3,650 pounds. Now, to tell us more about these trucks and their rules, let's go to Ken Stout with Inside CORR.
Let's talk for a moment about the different combinations you can use for weight in Pro 2 and Pro 4. For starters, the lightest combination, a 2-valve head, and you put a carburetor on top. If that's the situation, you only have to weigh 10 pounds per cubic inch, or for example, if you're Kurt Leduc, 440 cubic inches, you'd have to weigh 4,400 pounds if he was using a carburetor. Now, what if you want to add fuel injection? Not a problem, it's allowed in both divisions, but you have to weigh a little bit more. 10.5 pounds per cubic inch is what it'll cost you if you want to run fuel injection. Now, there is another combination. What if you want the whole enchilada? Hey, not a problem. How about a 3 or more valve head per cylinder, such as Johnny Greaves, 4 valves per cylinder here. He has fuel injection on top. This one has it all, but it'll cost him in weight up to 11 3/4 pounds per cubic inch.
Now, the interesting side of that, of course, is Greaves runs a smaller displacement engine, so that kind of changes things up just a little bit as well. Let's take a look now at our Nissan race analysis.
Well, this racetrack is 1.3 miles long. It has a big wide land rush start. Everybody starts side by side, but it narrows down into only 65 feet into Turn 1, the most exciting Turn 1 in all of off-road racing. Getting a good start is a key. You get through Turn 1, everybody else has to chase you the rest of the day to try to get around you.
And one of the things to keep in mind with that land rush start, they do the inversion, and since they're side by side, they stagger them back just a little bit. But actually, if you're to the outside and back, there's a smooth lane over there that sometimes you can utilize to the right of the screen. Let's get you to the starting lineup. And on the inside of that inversion will be Dave Christopherson, the rookie, joined by Al Drews, then Josh Baldwin and Johnny Greaves. Then next up, in the next 2 positions, will be Kurt Leduc and Scott Douglas. Then it will be Carl Renesetter and our points leader, Jason Baldwin. And then outside of the inversion, on the far outside, will be the number 33, the Chevy of Steve McCrossan. That's the lineup. Watch for the green, watch for the outside. If you can get over there with not so many trucks, you got to really hunt to find it, but it's just violent. Look at Renesetter, just violent in the middle.
Yeah, it's very, very rough right in the middle. That's one of the worst places to be. But look at this. It looked like Johnny Greaves made his way to the line and to the first corner first again.
Got the nose out front, and he, in fact, does hold on to it. Jason Baldwin second. Little bump and go there with Renesetter. Baldwin hangs on to it. That's Baldwin, Renesetter, Baldwin, and of course their in-laws. And oh, we got somebody up on the berm. That was Christopherson. I don't know whether he got forced out. Whoa, he broke a right front wheel.
Well, I think he just got a little high, and once he got up on that wall, he broke that spindle off up there, and so he's done for the day. He's not going to get that thing fixed very quickly.
Now let's go back to the action. You can see Greaves leading away. Then it is Jason Baldwin, number 66, that Filter Manufacturing truck. And he's getting worked over by brother-in-law Renasetter. He's, of course, driving the Lucas Oil Chevy. And boy, did Baldwin shut the door and fight back.
Yeah, Baldwin got way wide, left the door wide open. Renasetter looked like he had him passed easily, but when Baldwin finally got some traction, he just put that thing in the forward gear and blew past him again.
This onboard absolutely awesome here. Now the track's a bit damp, but that's because it was watered. This is one of the this is the race so far this season as Renasetter takes another run. And actually it's been very dry. And again, Baldwin stays tough around the outside. Coming down into turn one, Baldwin hangs on.
And see, when these guys go out on the racetrack, they really don't know where the most water is. They're very familiar with the racetrack, but when you water the racetrack, sometimes the guy gets overzealous, puts too much water in one spot or another. So you're just kind of taking your chance. Oh, man, that was a big-time bank. Just two guys going for the same spot.
Boy, Renasetter working the far inside. Tire up on the grass. He's got him. Baldwin locked up a little bit awkwardly, but Renasetter goes wide. Baldwin squares up, goes to the throttle, side by side.
That was a terrific move by Baldwin. He just checked up, got on the brakes, tried to get back to the inside of Renasetter, but Renasetter just wouldn't let him win.
Unbelievable, nice run by Jason Baldwin, and you can see why Jason Baldwin right now is leading in the points championship. Was it too early to be thinking title? We asked him about that.
Yeah, really. I mean, you've always got it in the back of your mind. You know, it's nice to be in this position right now, and, you know, we're all enjoying it. But, you know, like I said to the guys, you know, enjoy it right now because it could change tomorrow. You never know. But, you know, the bottom line is all these guys want to win. They want to not only win races, but they want to win championships. So, you know, we're focused, and the key is to get out there and go fast and have fun and stay out of trouble.
And those two guys, of course, are the two that are atop the points order, Baldwin and Renasetter. Now another Baldwin is feeling some serious pressure from the number 7 of Scott Douglas. This is the battle for 4th spot right now, and it is held by Baldwin, but Douglas coming after him. But let's keep in mind, all this action unfolding behind Johnny Greaves in the Potawatomi Bingo Toyota, who is gone. Speed Channel's coverage of championship off-road racing is being brought to you by Lucas Oil, worldwide leader in heavy-duty and high-performance lubricants and the official oil of championship off-road racing. And by Nissan Shift Performance, the official truck of championship off-road racing. Welcome back to Crandon, everybody. The battles continue. This is, again, a good battle back in the pack just a little bit for 4th. That is Douglas, who gets down underneath and takes that Rancho truck right by and picks up that 4th spot. But Baldwin comes back tough, and they two are side by side right now. And this is into that hairpin down into the gravel pit hairpin. Boy, still, oh, that could cost Douglas big time.
He went way, way wide that time. He made a nice move, but just went too wide coming off the corner. But Baldwin, when he got sideways over that jump, that's what originally gave Douglas the chance to get around him. Now that he goes wide.
Boy, look for a minute like Baldwin maybe missed a shift or had something pause.
Little contact there, but he just got in there. With that 4-wheel drive, you've got to get the back end out, because all 4 wheels, you can't use the power to turn the truck. And so he got out there, and he didn't have the back end out, and he just couldn't get the truck turned.
Now we move up a couple spots. Jason Baldwin, the team truck, of course, and look at McCrossan just got into Josh Baldwin and picked up the 5th spot. Sort of ground his way by, but it was pretty effective.
Yeah, McCrossan's got a few dents in that thing. Looks like he's had contact a couple times. Kurt Leduc back there, he's having a tough day so far.
Just watching these trucks carry that air over that, and you start to turn while you're in the air. It's really wonderful to watch. That's Leduc now, of course, who's joining the mix and starting to put some pressure on Baldwin. That is, I think, for the 6th spot right now.
Yeah, back for 6th. Kurt Leduc, since putting in that 440 cubic inch Roush engine, has not had as much luck as he had hoped. A lot of horsepower, just hasn't been able to get it to the ground.
Well, right there, you saw him climb the bank, trying to find a way by. And I was going to actually address that, because out front, we got the guy with the smallest displacement engine, Johnny Greaves. And as Leduc here continues to try and figure a way by Baldwin, this track right now, because it's really very dry underneath where they've just watered it, I would think that would be a track that would favor something that's light and nimble, and horsepower, you'd end up spinning your tires a lot. You don't have to dig out of deep mud, etc.
Well, this track is not as good for big engines as it used to be. When they used to have that big section over the back where you had that real long straightaway, horsepower and big cubic inches helped you a lot more than it does on this shorter version of the track here at Crandon. Now, when Kurt LeDuc gets to Bark River, that horsepower ought to really come to the forefront.
I think maybe he was planning a little, thinking ahead to the Governor's Cup, too, which is
could
next
be.
round.
Could be that's exactly what he was thinking about. But I don't know. He struggled a little bit here the last couple of races. Now then, it looks like he's got to the inside. Nope.
Well, door
couldn't pull
shut
it off.
again.
Yep.
Boy, these two are having an absolutely stellar battle. And again, this is for the 6th spot right now. Josh Baldwin dropped back just a little bit. Here's Johnny Greaves, we haven't seen a whole lot of because he's opened up such a seriously huge margin at this point. But I tell you what, he is driving absolutely precise lines, and that truck is flowing beautifully. Johnny Greaves is on form, and when that happens, he's tough to beat. Welcome back, everybody, to Crandon, Wisconsin. 5th round of the CORR Lucas Oil Pro Series. The Potawatomi Brush Run. Good battle here for 3rd continues. Jason Baldwin out front of Scott Douglas, the Filger Manufacturing truck, being attacked, as it has been really for quite some time here, by that Rancho suspension truck, and he's been hanging on to it, not letting him slip through.
Well, Scott Douglas didn't get a very good start. He got through turn 1 way in the back, but he's been plugging away and picking guys up.
Whoa.
There he gets another one. He just got down on the bottom there where it's good and slick, and when Baldwin got out in that heavy stuff, he just slipped on by him.
And speaking of which, that next turn, talking about some dry slick, we're starting to see develop as well. Meanwhile, here's Johnny Greaves. Now, looks good, but we're getting reports from Ken Stout that it may not be sounding so good. They think that maybe they're hearing something a little amiss with his transmission. We'll be following that, certainly. Here's Renezetter sitting in second as we hop on board, and he might just be closing up. You can see there's still a lot of room, but at least now Greaves is a speck there, and he's getting to be bigger as they approach that hairpin. And he was a lot farther out than that.
Well, Johnny Greaves has a manual transmission, so he could have dropped one of the gears. He might have lost 2nd or 3rd gear, so when he shifts, he lugs it in one part of the course or another. And, you know, also the other thing is if you lost like 2nd gear through some of these really small corners, short corners, he just can't get the horsepower to get him going again.
He does only have to last one more lap, and there's no doubt that margin is definitely coming down. So we're going to have to be following this very, very closely here as Renezetter's taking a run at him, going down through that Argonne Loop area of the track right now. Big fall away, then this left-hander, and then just hammer it. And this rise is very abrupt.
Yeah. This part of this course, it's a high-speed part of the course, so it should be okay through here. Yeah, I think it's the really sharp corners where he's having a little bit of trouble.
Riding on board once again with Renezetter. Let's just enjoy this for a sec. Man, that is something awesome. That turn is fast. I had the honor a little bit earlier of getting a ride around the track, and tell you what, the speeds in just a regular old truck that they were just giving you around there really opens your eyes up. And look at Renezetter coming, but as you can see, Greaves only has to last one more turn here as they get over the track right jump.
Yeah, he's having trouble. See, he's pushing the front end so badly through those corners. And he gets way wide, but
it was enough.
That was it.
Man, whatever the problem was, he dealt with it beautifully as he had just enough in hand and hangs on to get a big win and add to that tremendous career total that he's put up here. So when we come back, we'll be visiting with our winner in the FabTech Winner's Circle. Fifth round of the CORR Lucas Oil Pro Series Pro 4 class is complete. Here are the results. Greaves with a big win, although Renezetter coming after him big time at the end. Scott Douglas in 3rd, Jason Baldwin in 4th, and Kurt LeDuc, after really a problematic start, fought his way up into a top 5. Nice job there for Kurt LeDuc. But it's all about the winner, and with that, we head down to our FabTech Winner's Circle where Ken Stout is caught up with Johnny Greaves. Kenny?
Johnny Greaves climbing out of the truck. You put on another driving exhibition today, but I think you took it a step farther than you did yesterday. Come up here a little bit closer so everybody can see you. You come by me, I mean, you definitely legged out on everybody. You got a hole shot, perfect. I mean, it didn't look like you could do anything any better. But the last couple of laps, you're coming past me. I'm telling you, it sounded like you were a mix master in there. Is there any transmission left?
I don't know. I know there's 2 gears because after I finally figured out, you know, once I felt it go, I was afraid to take it out of gear, and then I went in a gravel pit. It was in 4th, and I knew I had 4th. I didn't want to take it out, but I couldn't get around the corner. So I tried to find something, and there was nothing, and I found 2nd. Everything else is broke. So then, you know, Carl ruled me in fast, and then I figured out I can go through the corners in 2nd, short shift into 4th, and stay under power, and maybe we'll survive to the end. And I'll tell you what, this Toyota Tundra makes her happen.
Unbelievable stuff. 337 cubic inches, you don't need 3rd gear.
Yeah, it's like the rest of them. They're all running 2 speeds, so, you know, maybe that's what'll slow us down. No, we don't want to do that.
Congratulations, a heck of a job, man. That's a way to back it up, man. You're definitely making a comeback in the points here.
Yeah, we really needed this. You know, we've struggled at Crandon for years. You know, we've got a couple gimmies out there last year, and, you know, Forest County Potawatomi people, this is their track, this is their hometown, and this is who we want to do it for. So I thank them for supporting us, and I hope they appreciate everything we're doing because we're working our butts off.
Well, he did that. In fact, his back-to-back wins here have now motivated him up into 4th in the points. You can see only 6 behind Baldwin, and with Renesetter 2nd and Jason's 4th, that has closed up as well. We take a look at the remainder of the points, so it is getting very, very close fought indeed here in Pro 4, and we're still fairly early into the season. Speaking of close, Pro 2's coming up, and these guys always run incredibly close. There's a good look at some of the drivers we're going to be watching. Renesetter, of course, doing double duty. He'll be out there as well, and we're looking forward to some awfully good action, and this is a slightly bigger field, and the inversion, of course, is going to make it very interesting. But one of the things we want to be up to date on is what's developing news and notes-wise, and here they are from Precision Gear, Larry.
Well, Dan Vandenheuvel discovered a blown head gasket when he was warming up his truck this morning. Repairs have been made, and he's on the starting line. He's ready to go here in this race today. Brian Hinman will race his father's stock truck in today's Pro 2 race. Brian damaged the engine in his Pro 2 in round 4, and he couldn't be repaired in time for today's race. Jeff Kincaid also had engine trouble in his previous round, destroying his 2nd engine of the season. Because of that, he will be forced to drive the backup truck in today's race. Of course, the backup truck is just about as good.
We are going to be enjoying some great onboard shots as well from Steve Barlow, the Red Bull Ford. Number 29 is going to be carrying a camera for us, and he's definitely one of the young up-and-comers in the sport. Also going to be riding on board with Mr. Excitement, Evan Evans, in the Forest County Potawatomi Chevy, and that unique throttle brake situation for him, obviously paralyzed from the waist down, and we'll be riding on board with the points leader. That is, of course, Scotty Taylor, the Skyjacker Ford. Will be giving us some great looks as well, and it's just about time for you to tell us about this division.
These are full-size two-wheel drive pickup trucks. Again, 850 horsepower. They must weigh a minimum of 3,400 pounds, and the shock travel is huge, 18 and 20 inches.
Let's get to our Nissan starting lineup. Brian Hinman, Evan Evans will start us off. Then moving to the right, it'll be Steve Barlow and Kevin Probst. Again, staggered back just a little bit. Then the next group will be Josh Baldwin and Dan Vandenheuvel, who's had himself a great start to the season in the Kumho Tire Chevy. And then completing the inversion will be Carl Renesetter and points leader Scott Taylor. Outside of the inversion will be Paul Seidler, and of course Larry Gorley still nursing some pretty painful broken ribs, although they are coming along a little bit better now. So here we go. Watch for the green. Holy smokes, Brian, he must have been looking at a stoplight in downtown Crandon. He just checked out way early.
Looked like delayed Christmas tree lights on a drag race. He was so far ahead of everybody else. Wow, I guess if you got a stock truck, you might need it because he still didn't get there first.
Well, I wonder if he realized that he's really just putzing there. I think he realized he left way early, and that allowed Evan Evans to just go driving by everybody and pick up the lead. Vandenheuvel slots in a second. Nice move there by Scott Taylor. Just threading the needle between a couple of trucks, went from 5th to 3rd.
Well, they ought to call him the gas man because he sure gasses it when he gets a chance. And that time it paid off because he's up front. Now everybody's got to chase him. And you can see once again, water down there. And he ran right through that very wet portion of the racetrack down on the bottom. A little more water right there.
Over the big track right jump. Makes the right-hander coming up to the finish line. That is Vandenheuvel right behind him. Then Taylor. And then it is Renesetter. That is your top 4 right now. Up and over the finish line, just sort of that little rise. And now they make that kind of climb, that quick left-hand, almost high-speed kink. And here comes Hinman, and he's getting a black flag. Not a big surprise there, although I think he penalized himself nicely by backing off, but rules are rules.
Yeah, he knew exactly what he'd done. He fell back there. He might as well stayed out front because he's going to get penalized anyway.
Well, here's a look at it. Watch.
1, 2, 3. They got a 4-second lead there. What a heck of a deal.
Well, I tell you, both Evans, let's watch it from Scott Taylor first of all here.
You can see he's clear on the outside out there, but he didn't get a great start. But look at that. He just got pelted as that other truck went by. I couldn't see who it was, but the driver is seeing exactly what you just saw, and he can't see it. You can see him reach up and tear away that tear-off. So, you know, you get pelted pretty good right here early in the going.
Looks like shrapnel, but look at that move right there. That's when he threaded the needle. It went from 5th to 3rd. Just an absolutely great move. Meanwhile, that's the battle for 6th. Josh Baldwin right there holding it. Right behind him is Kevin Probst. He's got that Fabtech sponsorship. We hop on board with Barlow right now. And out in front of this whole group is Larry Gorley, bad ribs and all, as that Quick and Bright truck just hooked up.
Yeah, he's running pretty good. Barlow right now, though, it looked like he tried to find a way. You can see as Probst went through that wet stuff, the front end pushed way out on him, and he lost a lot of time, didn't have a chance. You got to be real careful when you run through that really wet mud.
This turn right here is a very high-speed little kink, and it's still watered down pretty good, but we've been seeing it all event long. About halfway through the race, that just turns into that blue groove dry slick, and the characteristics change completely.
Right. Oh, Barlow.
Whoa!
Well, that was Baldwin that got real sideways. I was talking about Barlow, and he's the 3rd truck in their line there, but Baldwin just got sideways and allowed Probst to get around him.
This is your battle for 2nd, and it is definitely heating up. You can see Evans has gone in the distance, but Dan Vandenheuvel feeling some serious pressure now from Scott Taylor. That Skyjacker BF Goodrich tired Ford starting to heat things up on the 77 Kumo tires truck that Vandenheuvel is driving. That's a Chevy, of course. Look at Taylor.
He just slid right in under him, just absolutely slid right out in front of him. What a nice move. Never touched him, but slid right in front of him. Now then Vandenheuvel going to try to get back to the inside of him. Just can't quite do it.
Not quite there. That's 2 sweet moves that we've seen Taylor make in this race so far. And give Vandenheuvel credit. Taylor went by him clean. Oh, Vandenheuvel's got something wrong.
Yeah, it looks like he might have a flat tire or something. So he moved way to the outside. And
Renazetter just smoked him, so there's something amiss right here. But once again, while we're watching all this action unfolding, Evan Evans having his best drive of the season thus far. Welcome back, everybody. Greg Creamer along with Larry Rice and Ken Stout, and unfortunately watching Dan Vandenheuvel. He has pulled off and parked it. Window net is up, and it looks like he is done for the day. Meanwhile, once Scott Taylor got by, he has reeled in Evan Evans, and this is now a battle for the lead. The Forest County Potawatomi Chevy and the Skyjacker Ford working the Argonne Loop, and then this climb out of here. Boy, did Taylor get a little bit of a run.
Yeah, these guys have been battling each other for a lot of years around here. Evan Evans knows he's got his hands full right now, and Scott Taylor, he's gone to school on Evan Evans for a long, long time. He should know if there's a place he can get around him, he'll know where to do it.
And one mistake by either of these guys, and Carl Renazetter is right there in the hunt, putting some just huge pressure on right now. And of course, you keep this in mind, you got Taylor leading in the points, Renazetter sitting 2nd, not too far behind him, and Evan Evans is back in the order a bit, looking to sort of, I don't know, save his season in a sense, if you will get back on track. And this is going to be just a great scrap. 3 of the absolute best and led by one of the most aggressive.
Evan Evans just can't make a mistake. Right there, he got a little bit wide, but he was out there where he wanted to be so he could get a hold of that cushion and get better drive off the corner. But he knows that Taylor's back there. One mistake is going to cost him the lead. Let's just see who's the cagiest in this little battle right here.
I was going to ask you about that when he went out wide and got in that. Sometimes you actually. That may have been the mistake.
He got down there, he hit that front end, but he got a good bite off the corner. Nope, still can't beat him into the next corner.
Evans tries to cut down, actually scrapes the bumper off, comes up alongside on the inside. Taylor shuts the door.
He's not going to give up. That's not in his vocabulary, and he's going to do whatever it takes. Now then, he could have very easily run right back into the back end of him, but he got on the brake and did not hit Taylor.
So Taylor got very squirrely over that second jump, leading down into these big series of turns, and there's that shrapnel coming in here. And that's one thing about this track, folks, especially this turn right here. It's tough to see it, but there are some monster-sized boulders that are sticking up and protruding from that track surface. It is just brutal.
Yeah, you can see in Evan Evans' truck, he's got that big screen wire up there, and it stops a lot of those rocks, but there's still some pretty good size when it gets through there, and they thump you pretty hard when they hit you.
Speaking of thumping, Renazetter gave him just a little bit of that I'm here kind of tap, and it didn't phase Evan Evans, of course, at this stage. But nonetheless, now he knows he's got company behind him, and that's exactly what Taylor wants, is now Evans worried maybe more about what's unfolding behind him, and that may just allow Scott Taylor to drive off into the distance, pad that points lead a bit. Welcome back to the thick of the action here at the Potawatomi Brush Run, round 5 of the CORR Lucas Oil Pro Series here in Crandon, Wisconsin. On board with Steve Barlow, the Red Bull truck. That is Larry Gorley, that quick and bright truck in front of him, and this is the battle for 5th. Gorley's got it, Barlow wants it, and this is the run up through and over and out of the Argonne Loop, that new section of track that they put in here. I'll tell you what, it may cut your, oh, let's jump up to the front here as this battle for 2nd continues to be absolutely furious.
Renazetter tried him that time, just wasn't quite in the position, and Evan Evans is just not going to give up easily. He really gasses that thing out of the corners. If he gets turned into the corners right there, see, he didn't make a mistake. He had the back end out when he hit that bump that time and really got through that corner well. You know, it just depends. It just doesn't take much of a mistake.
Now, that's what I was talking about. You saw that right front tire move for Evan Evans, and he went over a huge rock down there. There's Kevin Probst running in 4th spot by himself. Kind of lonely out there right now in that Fabtech truck, but you know what? You'll take that sometimes. You don't have to worry about all kinds of people just all over you all the time.
Here we ride along with Evan Evans. Watch the way he has to handle that truck. The brake, the throttle in his right hand, and you see that protect his knuckles from all the rocks and stuff we've been talking about.
Yeah, interesting that he runs without gloves. That just amazes me, but apparently gives maybe a little bit better feel for those controls. And these two now are coming into lap traffic, and sometimes that's an opportunity like this. Look at that. Oh, he's trying to cover him. Renazetter hits him. White flag coming out. We're on the last lap. Evans survives that moment. But very close indeed, Larry.
Yeah, Paul Seidler was that lap truck right in front of him. He just, they tried to squeeze between them, and Renazetter tried to sneak in under him. Evan Evans just wasn't going to have it. Once again, that's a very tough corner, and Evan Evans executed it perfectly.
One of the things that I kind of like about what Evan Evans is doing there is he runs out wide and you think that could be a mistake. But look at Renazetter, by the way, come alongside. It's a drag race inside to Evans, and he takes it back. Renazetter now pops outside. Oh, Evans very crossed
He just blew the right rear tire. When he landed on that right rear, I thought it looked like he blew the right rear tire. Maybe he didn't.
I don't know. I think he suddenly has dropped off. Yeah,
I
he
think
did.
he
He's
did.
shredding it. Good catch, Larry.
When he landed down that truck, and you saw that little puff come out of it, and it blew that right rear tire. Man, what a tough break. He can't buy a break.
Unbelievable. Here comes Taylor now, going to add to that remarkable string of career victories. I've been saying that a lot today, but that's just how it is right now as Scott Taylor hustles it over the finish line, picks up another huge win. And that means, of course, he gets to take that sharp right turn right off the track here. There's Renazetter in 2nd spot, and looks as though Evan Evans held on for 3rd, so good thing for that. We'll be back, and we're going to visit with our winner. Don't go anywhere. The action in Pro 2 in our 5th round of the CORR Lucas Oil Pro Series is done. Scott Taylor gets the win over Renazetter. Evan Evans hanging on for 3rd. Kevin Probst, good ride to 4th. Kudos to Larry Gorley. That had to hurt, and he did a nice job. Barlow, Seidler, Hinman, Josh Baldwin, and Vanden Heuvel had those problems early, rounding out the top 10. And here's Ken Stout in the Fabtech Winner Circle.
5 rounds in, 3 wins, 2 second places. You haven't finished out of the top 2 yet this year. Maybe they should have left you in the middle.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not done with this yet. I can't say enough for my crew. They put me in this truck ready to go every round. It's always right on the money. And Roush Performance has got a hot rod underneath the hood. Skyjacker, BF Goodrich, Ford Motor Company, Justice Brothers, MSD, and Autometer. They're all great to me, and I can't leave out automatic transmission design. this is the same trans we started the season with this year.
Now, I got to tell you, I didn't know what was going to happen first. If CORR was going to pass you or if you were going to pass Evan, it was definitely a dogfight.
Evan did an excellent job of driving. He got a little wide back here in Argonne curve, and I just got underneath him, and I couldn't believe that he let me get by him like that, but he must have been out of, you know, up in the marbles or something there. But yeah, it was a heck of a battle. I wished I would have been on the sideline watching it because my nerves were going crazy inside.
Well, let's take a look at the points, and that's going to calm his nerves as he's ballooned it up to 15 over Renesetter, who in turn has opened it up a few more over Vandenheuvel, and Evan Evans has moved into a tie for fourth with Kevin Probst with that third place finish. So he is indeed sort of salvaging a little bit of the season and coming on strong here as we take a look at the rest of the top 10 in the points. Coming up next is by far and away the biggest class in terms of entry. It is time for Pro Light. Here's a good look at Rick Huseman, who, of course, has maybe turned his season around a little bit. The Nissan Nismo team of Art Schmidt and Mark Krieger. Of course, a guy we've already gone by is Jeff Kincaid. Getting ready to go?
I don't know what this inversion's like, you know.
He hasn't made the inversion this year. That's understandable because he's had a lot of problems. And earlier, Ken Stout took a look at Jeff Kincaid's season.
If you want to build a lot of compression in your power plant, you can't have any holes in the block. And that's exactly what you're looking at here. Catastrophic engine damage put the four-time champ in Pro Light, Jeff Kincaid, out of round number 4. He's had a tough start to the 04 season. Going back to round number 1, they lost a rear end. Round number 2, they lost a motor courtesy of a cam cap. And then, of course, in round number 4, well, you're looking at it here. Another power plant. For the first time in his career here at CORR, he has not made an inversion this season, nor is he in the top 10. Can somebody else step up and win this championship, or can Jeff Kincaid save this season?
I don't think you ever count Kincaid out, but this is the guy who has stepped up. That is points leader Kyle LeDuc. 3 wins already this season, and he has been very, very fast.
He has been phenomenal. He's been quick. As we're going to ride along with Art Schmidt, he's going to carry our onboard camera, and he's also done very well this year. But he would like to move up a couple positions. He wants to come up with a win. Let's take a look at what Pro Light's all about. 2-wheel drive, light-duty pickup trucks. They have 250 horsepower, have to weigh 2,800 pounds. Because they have less horsepower, you've got to keep them wound up.
And here's our Nissan starting grid with the inversion. Leo Donnell and Jim Candell closest to the start line. Steve Federico and Art Schmidt next 2 out. Then Mark Krieger and Rick Huseman 5th and 6th. And then completing the inversion, Chad Horde and points leader Kyle LeDuc. But look at some of the names that are outside of that. Stacy Pike, Javier Socha are going to be next up. Then we got Shane Pagels, Mark Oberg, of course, big player in the Sportsman Series, stepping it up. Jeff Kincaid, Donnie Roberts out there as well. Next up will be Randy Eller in the Chevy, Josh Hintz in the Toyota, and then all by himself there is Don Ponder on the far outside. We are ready to go. Watch for the green. This is truly the land rush, Larry.
And look at all those trucks. Remember, they got to funnel down into a 60-foot wide track. I mean, you got this many trucks trying to get there. Boy, you usually have some contact.
Boy, Kincaid, just what we talked about earlier in the show. Look at that. Got out in that smooth lane. He has got it taped. Somebody brushes the wall on the inside. But Kincaid was hung up. I mean, that tire was banging on the grass on the outside, and he's steering at a metal guardrail and lake down there. That's commitment.
He just absolutely hung it way, way on the outside and never did get out of the gas. Didn't look like he was going to make it around through that corner, but when he did, he was up front. That's amazing.
That's Chad Horde, who slotted into second now, watching some of the rest of the battle, and you can see Kyle LeDuc back in the order just a little bit here. Didn't get the start that he wanted, but Kincaid, he's been up front before. The question is, he's got to last now. That's the big issue for him, and he's got chasing him. Chad Horde, you know, hungry. Look at this move by LeDuc. Down to the inside. That's underneath. Does he make the pass on Federico? He does. So LeDuc picks up the 4th spot. Federico's P.F. Chang's Toyota slips to 5th. Let's go on board with Art Schmidt at this start. Now watch this. We believe, Larry, he may be the one who hit that wall.
All right, as we ride down in, and remember, these trucks are running about 90 miles an hour heading down in there. He can't see anything right there. You can see, and he just banged it with the right front of the truck as he just lost track of where the wall was.
Yeah, he was blinded, it looked like here. And Kyle LeDuc going after Leo Donlan gets him. So LeDuc, not a great start, but boy, did he make up for it in a hurry in just that first lap. He is now 3rd. O'Donnell behind him in 4th. And then once again, Federico and the P.F. Chang's Toyota sitting in the 5th spot.
I think his daddy taught him aggressiveness very early. As Yes, he really did. He really went after those guys, and he's moved up about 4 spots since that first corner.
Yeah, just a blistering opening lap, no question of that. So he's hooked up and moving toward the front, and that Skyjacker truck with the battles behind him. Oh, and he climbs the bank!
He got way sideways, almost spun it completely out, went right up the hill, made an extra jump for himself, and still never lost a spot.
Unbelievable. Well, there's that aggression maybe coming home to roost sometime.